Okay. Anyways, without any further ado, let's get started with today's session, guys. I'm so sorry for the delay. I was just waiting for the others to join. But before that, a quick formal introduction before we start our session. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council, and I teach courses such as certified ethical hacking, web application pen testing, security operations center analysis, in short, SOC analysis as well. Okay. And our demo today, our workshop today is on certified ethical hacking version 11. So the main agenda of the session today is to make you understand what is cybersecurity and what is hacking or ethical hacking and what are the topics that we'll be learning in this course called Certified Ethical Hacking. Okay. Now, this is a course from EC Council, a well-known recognized organization for cybersecurity certifications. And the latest version of this course, CEH, is CEH version 11. Okay. And the main, this is a foundational course again for people who are completely new to the cybersecurity domain. Okay. And if you're planning on shifting your domain, or if you're fresher and you want to start your career in cybersecurity, this is the starting course to go with, Certified Ethical Hacking. Now, before I progress further, this is a common question that I usually ask the students to understand their perspective. So can anyone out of you three guys answer or let me know in your terms again, what is hacking? Okay. Again, not necessary that you give me the exact right answer or the exact definitive answer, guys, whatever comes to your mind. Okay, so let's keep the session a bit interactive and fun rather than keeping this just one-sided. So Paras or Sagar or Ravi Teja, can anyone tell me according to their own terms, what is hacking? Hello.
Breaking into other systems without any permissions.
Oh, that's a great answer, Ravi Teja. To the point and very straightforward and correct. Nothing wrong with that. Paras or Sagar, anyone wants to add up anything to that?
Sir?
No. I was asking the others, Paras or Sagar, if they wanted to add anything to that. Okay, no worries. So again, building upon your own words, Ravi Teja, if I had to just define out hacking, just like you mentioned, it is nothing but the process of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, these information systems could be anything. They could be mobile phones, or they could be huge web servers or web application servers or databases. And this is done without the permission or without the consent of the person owning those systems. Okay. Now, this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit. Once they get access to the systems, they can steal the data or destroy the data or just sell the data on the black or the dark web for their own financial benefit. Now, if hacking seems such a malicious task, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? Is the second question. And what is this ethical hacking? Ethical is something which is completely legal, but hacking seems to be a malicious or a criminalistic task. Now, how are these two terms coming together? Is the main question. So when we talk about ethical hacking, on the other hand, this is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. Okay, a vulnerability is nothing but a loophole, a weakness in the information system. Okay, and this finding of vulnerabilities is done with the permission of the organization. So you work hand in hand legally with the help of the organization, and using their permission, using their consent, you try to perform vulnerability scan, or you try to find vulnerabilities on the target system. Okay, once you find a vulnerability, your job is to report it back so that once reported, they can patch the vulnerability up and remove it. Now, the main task you're doing over here is just like a hacker trying to find a vulnerability, but you're not exploiting it. You're not taking advantage of it, but you're trying to report it back so that they can be patched up. Once the vulnerability has been patched, it closes the doorway for the hacker to cause any further harm. So with ethical hacking, on the other hand, guys, you're trying to increase the security rather than cause any harm. I hope these two definitions are clear. What is hacking and what is ethical hacking on the other hand, and how they are completely opposite of one another. Hello. Guys, can you hear me? Paras and Sagar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Now, depending on these two definitions, guys, we can categorize the various types of hackers as well. So if I had to list out the different types of hackers, these are as follows. So there's someone known as a black hat hacker, there's someone known as a gray hat hacker, and then finally there's someone known as a white hat hacker. A black hat hacker is someone who performs hacking for his own benefit. A gray hat hacker, again, is someone who performs hacking, but again, he reports the vulnerabilities back. Like a black hat hacker itself, he does it without asking for permission. But like a white hat hacker, he does report it back. And white hat hacker do it with complete consent. So these are also known as ethical hackers who abide with the laws and policies, and they perform hacking to find the vulnerabilities and report it back. Now, all these three categories of hackers, whether that be black hat, gray hat, or white hat hacker, all these are the professional people who perform this in a certain number of steps. And those steps are known as hacking cycle or cyber kill chain. Now, in any organization or any firm, you perform hacking using the same steps itself. Now, whether that be hacking or ethical hacking, the same number of steps are followed in the same systematic order. Now, let's briefly discuss each of these steps one by one, so you have a clear picture of what the whole course is about. Okay, so the first step when you talk about hacking or ethical hacking is known as information gathering. Now, this can also be called as reconnaissance or footprinting. Second step is known as scanning. Again, this can also be called as enumeration. Third step is known as gaining access. Fourth step is maintaining access. And the last step is reporting or clearing traces. Now, one thing to understand is each of these steps is very crucial, and they're the similar ones, whether you go with hacking or ethical hacking. The main difference comes in the last step, where if you're an ethical hacker, you try to report all the steps taken. If you're a non-ethical hacker or a black hat hacker, you try to remove all the evidences, which is known as clearing traces. And hence there's the or written in the last step. Okay, now let's briefly discuss about each of these steps one by one, so you have a better picture of what these steps are and how do you use them. So the first step is known as information gathering. Again, as the name itself says, information gathering is nothing but trying to gather as much information or as much data as possible about the target. And this data is seen passively or gathered passively. One second, I guess someone else has joined. Not an issue. Okay, so what I mean by passively is that this information is gained from other third-party sources rather than gaining it directly from the organization. Now, the main question is, what kind of information are we talking about over here? And this is the information as follows. So when we talk about information gathering, we try to gather information such as the IP address information or the range of IP addresses about the target organization, or the who is information, like who is hosting the website, when was it last updated, when is it going to expire, what are the DNS records, what are the employee details, such as the contact numbers, their email addresses, then their publicly available usernames and passwords, then domain names of the website, subdomains of the website, excuse me, and the operating system information. Now, trust me, might sound a bit unbelievable, but all this information is readily available on the internet for you to be gathered. So if I show you a very basic example, if I wanted to get the email addresses for any certain organization, all I would have to do is go to the browser and search for a website called hunter.io, hunter.io. Now, this is a website that is used, again, very commonly used among hackers and ethical hackers to find the email addresses of any organization's employees. So if I search for any organization, for example, Flipkart.com, and you can notice over here, this shows me the publicly leaked email addresses of the working employees of Flipkart. So if I click on find email addresses, you can notice over here, I get the emails. And these are the working emails of professionals of Flipkart. Now, again, this information will only be available once you register in the website of hunter.io. Okay, so if you're planning on doing this or repeating this after the class, please create a free account in the website and then start searching for email addresses. Again, this can be repeated for any organization. So even if I go with Tesla.com, an international company, if I click on that domain and search, you can notice this shows me the email addresses of Tesla's organization employees. Okay, so similarly, there's other websites for gathering the other sources of information as well. And again, all this information is gathered passively. What I mean by passively is that the organization has no clue that someone is trying to gather all this information about. Now, once you've gathered this information, 60% of your job is almost done. Okay, so information gathering is a very crucial step, because the more information you find, the more possibilities you find, the more attack vectors you find to attack into the target system. Now, once you've got the information, next step is scanning. Scanning is nothing but an extra step after information gathering to gather more information against itself. But this information specifically is gathered actively. What I mean by actively is that you directly send packets to target server, and from the target server, you try to gather information or you try to retrieve information. Okay. Now, when we talk about scanning, there's three types of scanning basically. There's something known as network scanning, there's something known as port scanning, and then there's something known as vulnerability scanning. In network scan, you try to figure out on the target network what all devices are active. So, or you will send packets to the target network from that which you can locally or remotely understand how many devices are there in that specific network. Once you know the number of devices or the type of devices that are available, you perform port scanning to figure out on those devices what ports are open and what services are running. Okay. Then finally, you perform vulnerability scanning to figure out on those ports and services, is there any weakness which can be attacked on? Now, in this, we'll be using a very important tool called Nessus and Nmap as well. So if I show you a basic example, I can open up my Chrome browser. Just a second. Yeah, over here. So in my Chrome, I can load up my Nessus tool, which runs on the port 8834. Now, this is a real-time tool that is used in organizations as well, guys, to perform network vulnerability scanning. Again, not a free tool if I just download this. So the website for this is Nessus Tenable. This is the official website from where you can download the tool. Now, this is a vulnerability scan. As you can see, if you go for buying this in organizations, this is purchased for a price of $4,000 for 1 year subscription. And this is the same tool that is used in organizations as well. Okay, so this allows you to perform vulnerability scanning on the target networks to figure out if there is any weaknesses available on the services running. Now, once you open up the tool, you have these different scan techniques, as you can see, a basic scan, a network scan, an advanced scan to figure out all the target vulnerabilities. Now, once you perform a scan, this is how it would look like. It shows you all the vulnerabilities categorized depending on the impact. So this is known as automated vulnerability scan in organizations as well. If you're completely new to cybersecurity, this is the first task that you perform, automatically trying to check for weaknesses or vulnerabilities in websites. Once you get a weakness, once you know that some application or some web server has a weakness, how do you attack on that is the next part, which is nothing but gaining access. So now when we talk about gaining access, this comes where you try to attack the system after finding the possible loopholes. Okay, now this is a huge concept, covers a vast variety of topics, and these are as follows. So the first thing that we'll be learning in gaining access is system hacking. How do you try to perform, or how do you try to crack a Windows operating system password is what we learn in system hacking. So again, this Windows operating system could be any version. It could be Windows 7 or Windows 8, Windows 10 or Windows 11, does not matter. How do you crack it? If you are unable to crack it, how do you bypass that password is what we learn in system hacking. Then comes malware attacks, where again, malwares are nothing but malicious softwares. Again, 90% of the cyber threats that happen in real-time scenario are always through malware attacks. So we'll be learning what these malwares are, how do we practically create these malwares, such as viruses, worms, trojans, whatnot, and how do we protect ourselves from these different malwares. Then comes malwares advanced. Now, this is a bonus concept, guys. This is not included in the CH curriculum by EC Council, but we at DurgaSoft have added this as a special topic for people who want to develop their knowledge on malware development. Okay, so in this, we'll be sharing the resources of using Python programming language to create your own malwares, such as keyloggers and backdoors. Again, a bonus concept. If you want to increase your knowledge on that, you could learn that. Then there's network penetration testing, where we learn all the common network attacks, such as sniffing attack, MIDM, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service attacks, or hacking Wi-Fi routers, or hacking wireless networks, and all that. By using these attacks, attackers can try to capture your usernames and passwords in the local network and capture your information. So we'll see how is this performed and how do you attack Wi-Fi passwords, how do you crack them, how do you get access to others' routers, how do you check these vulnerabilities and remove them. Then comes social engineering, where you'll perform hacking using phishing attacks. Okay, so we'll learn how hackers create fake login pages, how do they get the credentials from those fake login pages, and again, how do you replicate any website. Okay, so any social media website, oh, 1 second, guys. Any social media website or any bank login page or any organizational login page can be cloned, and we'll be learning how this cloning is done and how do we distinguish between a cloned page and an official page. Okay, then comes a web application pen testing, where we learn all the common website vulnerabilities. So again, your websites also have weaknesses on the front end and the back end as well. So to list out a few, they are SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, file upload vulnerability, whatnot. Now, these are the vulnerabilities that exist on websites, using which hackers can get access to the web servers or the databases in the back. So we'll understand how to test for these vulnerabilities. If these vulnerabilities exist, how do we remove them? How do we protect our website from these vulnerabilities is what we learn in that part. Then comes vulnerability assessment, which is in also other terms known as penetration testing. So when you apply for a job role, the main job roles that you find in cybersecurity is pen tester. performing penetration testing or checking for vulnerabilities and checking or manually assessing those vulnerabilities. Okay, that is known as vulnerability assessment in simple terms, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So we learn how to perform this pen testing using important tools such as Nessus and Metasploit framework in combination. Then comes hacking mobile phones, where we learn how to perform Android pen testing. How do you check for vulnerabilities on Android phones, and how do you get a remote connection of an Android phone by using remote Trojans and stuff. Okay, again, after gaining access comes maintaining access. Now that is the part of hack. Okay, so once you've got a connection remotely to a target device, how do you maintain that connection? How do you keep getting the data, even if the user restarts the system, is what we learn in maintaining connection. Then comes finally reporting or clearing traces, where I'll show you how you can generate a report of all the steps taken, or how do you remove the traces. So we're going to be learning both the methods of a hacker as well as an ethical hacker. Excuse me. Now, since not everyone could be from the same technical background, we also cover a few prerequisites as well. So I show you this course content. So before we dive into the advanced concepts, we'll have a few basic introductory classes, like what is networking, what are basic Linux commands, what are Windows commands. And then after these basic lab setup installation, after all this is done, then we go into the advanced classes. Okay, so again, just to give you a clear picture, this is the whole course content, guys. If I've missed out anything in the presentation, this could be a good list for you. If you have any questions at the moment, you can let me know. Hello. Ravi Teja, Sagar, and Pars. Excuse me. I'm a bit sick today, so I hope I was audible, guys. Paras and Sagar and Ravi Teja. Any questions on your end, guys, that you want to ask?
No, sir.
You can have a small Q&A session. Okay, guys. Assuming no one has any questions. Oh, 1 second. Okay, Paras. Again, last thing to discuss is the course duration. The whole course is going to be for 35 days, guys, where we'll have classes from Monday to Friday. It's around 1 month, quite a bit more than 1 month. Okay. And the batch timings are at 8 o'clock. So there's already a batch run, which was started last week. We just completed the basic concepts. We have not started the advanced concepts yet, but we can retake those classes again and start as a fresh batch at 8 p.m. in the evening. So there's already a batch running. So just in case if you want to join the batch, you can start from Monday. It's just at the earliest. So you can join a few classes on the front, up front. You can just contact the institute once and ask for the batch timings and the batch and Zoom link to join the sessions. And if you have any other questions, you can contact the institute regarding the fees. Again, you'll be provided the live sessions along with the recordings as well. So each and every session is recorded and it is uploaded to the Google Drive, from where you can access the recordings. So all the recordings, all the tools, all the live sessions, all the PDF materials, all the books and all the PDF materials, again, no, not physical hard copy books, but the materials of it will be shared to you via email. Okay, and everything is inclusive in the course price. Again, the course price is 8,000 rupees CEH course, again, which includes all those things which I've mentioned. Okay, so yeah, if you have any other technical queries, guys, here's my number. You can contact me on this number, 76800697768. If not, if you have any other queries regarding the course timings or the fees, please contact the institute. Okay. Any questions on anyone else part, guys? Paras or Sagar or Tirumala? I mean, sorry, Ravi Teja. Okay. Assuming there are no questions on anyone's end, I hope you have understood the session, guys, at least. I hope, because usually when you say no questions, there's only two possibilities. Either you have understood everything or nothing at all. So I hope it's the first option itself. And yeah, thank you for attending the session on a Sunday. Thanks for taking your time out. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow in case if you're planning to join the sessions. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Sure.